Welcome to day 122 of our school year. We have 58 school days left. Alright, let's go ahead and get down our beginning fraction. So we have a total of 180 school days, and we are on day 122. Let's go ahead and get down the factors of our numerator, which is 122. Two factors we always know are 1 and the number itself. Using the commutative property of multiplication, we can also write it as 122 times 1. Now we're going to go through our divisibility rules, and we're going to go in order so we don't miss any factors. After 1, we try 2. The rule for 2 is that it ends in an even number. 2 is even, so 2 is a factor. 2 times 61, 61 times 2. Next we try the rule for 3. The rule for 3, we add the digits together. 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5. 5 is not a multiple of 3, so 3 is not a factor. We try 4. The rule for 4, we look at the last two digits. We have 22. 22 is not a multiple of 4. 20 is, and 24 is. Also, you can check and see if the second factor with 2 is even or not. It's odd, so 4 is definitely not a factor. We try 5. The rule for 5 is that it ends in a 0 or a 5. It ends in a 2, so 5 is not a factor. We try 6. The rule for 6 is that both 2 and 3 are factors. 2 is, but 3 is not, so 6 is not a factor. We try 7. 7 times 10 is 70, 77, 84, 91, 98, 105, 112, 119, 126. 122 is not in that list, so 7 is not a factor. We try 8. 8 times 10 is 80, 88, 96, 104, 112, 120, 128. 122 is not in that list, so 8 is not a factor. We try 9. The rule for the 9 is the same as 3. We add the digits together. We get 5. 5 is not a multiple of 9, so 9 is not a factor. We try 10. The rule for 10 is that it ends in a 0. It ends in a 2, so 10 is not a factor. We try 11. 11 times 10 is 110, then 121, then 132. 122 is not in that list, so 11 is not a factor. I'm going to check and see if 61 is prime, because if it is prime, yes it is, and we've gone through our divisibility rules, we've checked our factors in order, our second factor is prime, then we're done, because it won't break down anymore. It won't decompose anymore into factors. So we list our factors from least to greatest. We have 4. 4 is more than 2 factors, so it is composite. Now we need to find our greatest common factor. Well, we only have 58 school days, so I can't make a group of 122 out of the unshaded or 61. So we try 2. Let's go ahead and make groups of 2. Your groups of 2 do not have to look like mine, but you do want to make sure you keep your shaded separated from your unshaded, and you have 2 in each group. All right, 2 worked. I have no remainder, so 2 is our greatest common factor. Let's go ahead and count up our total groups of 2. The way I made my groups, I have 5 in each row, so I can count by 5s. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, 85, 90 total groups. And I have 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 61 of them are shaded in. Alright, now that we have done our division with our model, let's go ahead and divide using our algorithm. So I have 180 divided into groups of 2, or 2 equal groups, and 122 being divided into groups of 2, or 2 equal groups. I know that 2 times 50 is 100. Numbers the same, zeros the same, more on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, zeros the same. 20 times 2, placeholder moves it over a place. 2 times 2 is 4. Numbers the same, zeros the same, more on top, no need to stop. 20 times 2 is 40. Numbers the same, zeros the same. Add our partial quotients together. 50, 60, 70, 80, 90. Here, 2 times 50 is 100. More on top, no need to stop. More on top, no need to stop. Numbers the same, zeros the same. 10 times 2 is 20. More on top, no need to stop. 1 times 2 is 2. Numbers the same, zeros the same. Add our partial quotients together. 50 plus 10 is 60, plus 1 is 61. Now we still need to check divisor times quotient plus remainder, divisor times quotient plus remainder. Since our remainder is 0 for both, and our identity property of addition says when you add 0 it stays the same, we don't need to take time to add 0. 2 groups of 0 is 0, 2 groups of 9 tenths is 18 tenths. 2 groups of 1 is 2, 2 groups of 6 tenths is 12 tenths. Now 122, that matches our dividend here. 180, that matches our dividend here. So that checks. So that means our numerator is definitely 61, and our denominator is definitely 90. All right, let's go ahead and fill in our data collection page. Okay, we are on trimester 2, week 13, the last day of our trimester. We will begin trimester 3 tomorrow. Next Monday. Today's date is 3/6/19, and our fraction for today is 61/90. We did groups of 2, so let's go ahead and get out our number line. The last one we have is 59/90. Then we have 60/90, which has lots of equivalent fractions. It is one of the many equivalent fractions to 2/3. 2/3 is our simplest form. Then we have today 61/90. There are no lines underneath because this is our equivalent fraction in lowest terms or simplest form. Okay, let's go ahead and put your number line away, erase your worksheet, and thank you for joining me.